Hello Superset Maniacs and welcome back to my channel. Phil Heath at the 2020 Mr. Olympia vs Roelly Winklaar at this past weekend's Chicago Pro. Neither of them was at his best at these specific shows, both of them downsized, both of them at their worst shape ever probably. Of course for Phil it was a third place finish at the Olympia, whereas Roelly finished 5th at a much smaller show like the Chicago. This alone should tell you which one was better, but still, I thought this was an interesting comparison that you guys would enjoy, so without any further ado, let's get to the poses. And we start with the front double biceps. Phil and Roelly still have some of the best guns of all time at these specific shows. Nobody could take that away from them. Phil also has the way better legs. I believe his legs looked very good actually at last year's Olympia actually, especially his quad sweeps. On the other hand, Roelly never had his legs at Phil's level, but at the Chicago, they were even worse. Way too downsized, it's not even close between them at this department. The area where Phil suffers is the midsection. We all know that. Aside from that, this physique could still be Olympia title worthy in my opinion. And to be honest, in the photos it doesn't even look all that bad, but if you watch the video footage, his bloated stomach is too much. Anyway, Roelly with this physique loses this pose to Phil here, not even close. The front lat spread, and I was waiting for this pose actually. This was always Phil's weakest pose, even in his prime when his midsection was alright. So here in 2020, with the midsection problems, it became a pose which hurts when you look at, to be honest. And here's the kicker. Roelly is not beating Phil here, at least judging by the pictures. I have Phil winning this pose. He may be narrower, but Roelly's lats are smaller, his waist is wide as well. Phil is also harder, probably in better conditioning. Phil even wins the chest against Roelly, which says a lot. Side chest pose. These two in their prime had two of the best side chest poses of all time, but here Roelly Winklaar is very downsized, especially through the chest and delts, which are the focal points in this pose. Phil as well, his chest is downsized, but other than that, he still looks strong here. He's got bigger delts and guns than Roelly, he wins the side leg, and he wins the pose overall. The back double biceps, and this is obviously Phil Heath. Phil was still the best at the Olympia last year from the back in my opinion. Nobody touches Phil from the back still. Phil's back double here is better than actually any version of Roelly ever, so the conclusion should be simple. I'm not going to get into other details in this pose. Same thing in the lat spread. It's true that upper body Phil used to be much better in this pose, and looking at him and Roelly here, it kinda shocks me actually. I was expecting Phil to be more dominant, but overall, taking into consideration every detail, Phil still slams the door on Roelly in this pose. Roelly lost every pose until now, and now we're looking at the side triceps, which normally should be good news for him. The bad news though is that he's going against Phil in this pose. These two probably had the best side triceps poses in bodybuilding history, or at least the best triceps in bodybuilding history, with Roelly probably being first actually. But here I think Phil surpassed Roelly at this department. Roelly even loses the midsection here against the 2020 Phil Heath, which was his only chance to come on top. So yeah, Phil Heath takes this pose as well. Abs and thighs, and judging by the legs, this should be easily Phil Heath again, but honestly, I can't award Phil Heath the abs and thighs with that midsection. Roelly's abs are more defined, his entire midsection looks better, he doesn't have a distension, so Roelly manages to win a pose in this comparison after all. And this is the only pose that Roelly would win in this comparison, because the most muscular is again Phil Heath. Phil dominates the shoulders and the arms. His chest is narrower indeed, but pops better. He wins pretty much everything against Roelly, from conditioning, hardness to size and focal body parts in this pose. The conclusion is simple. Roelly only won the abs and thighs against 2020 Olympia Phil Heath, and I honestly didn't expect anything else from this comparison. After all, Phil's only flaw at the Olympia was his midsection again. Other than that, he was pretty much on point. He was not as good as he used to be, sure, but definitely not bad. Roelly, on the other hand, at this year's Chicago Pro, was just a shadow of his former self from basically any point of view. Like this video if you enjoyed it, let me know your thoughts on this comparison in the comments below, subscribe to the channel, and as always, thank you guys and see you next time.